So good evening, everyone. Welcome back to Unhappy All Unalike, our continuing Tolstoyan adventures in decayed Russian aristocrats with English nicknames and other fun stuff that happened in Russia in the 1880s. So cool. I'm going to introduce people. I am still kind of out of it because I have not been home in 2 weeks. Um, but in the meantime, I'm going to start tonight with someone who has always brought some amazing things to the game, and I almost feel unkind to in the last couple of weeks. So I would like to please welcome Leandro, who is playing our dear, sweet, broken Countess Alexandra Fyodorovna Kuznetsova.
Yeah, so my name is Leandro, use he, him pronouns. I'm playing the Countess Alexandra Kuznetsova, also known as Shura to her friends. Yeah, she's hanging in there, I suppose. Barely. But just can't figure out the world, can she? The world just keeps throwing, by the world I mean Kat and everyone else here on this table. It just keeps throwing 5 million curveballs at her. She thought like, okay, all right, life's kind of sorted. Toma is married Valya. They're gonna be fine over there. I have a kid now. This is how the world works, right? Nope. Nope. It apparently not. No. No. Okay. I'm already frantic, and I think it's because I don't have my usual coffee. I have this like weird green matcha latte, and I have no idea what it's doing to me. So I'm just I don't know what to expect. I refuse to expect anything. That's where I am right now.
Leandro, it's not fair if you break in the middle of the introductions. You're going to be fine. We're going to take care of you. We love you. So sure, let's just move on to Countess Alexandra's favorite person in the world. This would be Princess Tamara Konstantinovna Volkhova, who is played by my longtime partner in crime and co-creator of these affairs, Serafina.
Hello. Yeah, I am Serafina, she, her. I play Toma, she, her, who I'm having trouble finding. Am I blind? Vasily, Svetlana. Oh no, I'm in the wrong place. I'm in the wrong thingamajiggy. It's fine. Everything's great. I'm doing super well. I've had a long day. Yeah, so Tamar is having a whole set of experiences lately. Mostly in that she has gotten married and seems at least somewhat happy with what's going on there that is not going to last. But she, misses her girlfriend, and her father is unhappy about her Boston marriage, and that is a whole time, especially considering she and her father had, sort of reconciled and were feeling really kind of good about each other. I know. It was so sad and so hard. So that's sort of where she is, and I'm curious what happens next. And by curious, I mean terrified.
I mean, I think it's obvious that we're going to have to just have a Chekhov play break out in the middle of things, because that'll make everybody much happier. So let me introduce next the foil to all of these poor fools, our own dear Richard, my longtime friend and someone I'm always super happy to play with, who's playing our good buddy Baron Grigory Antonovich Zinoviev.
Grisha, I'm Richard. I use he, him pronouns, and I'm playing Grisha. And Grisha is having a wonderful time because Grisha is convinced that the application of fake marriages and free love combined together will best Russian heteronormativity. And surely, if there is an official marriage to plaster over everything, no one would be foolish enough to look under the hood and see what was really going on. So now everybody involved has kind of free reign to do as they will. And there's children and everything. And surely that they are making they are making of the fools of the church, Russian prudery, and heterosexuals everywhere.
You're an astonishingly cynical person. How are you and Connie not better friends? And finally tonight, I would like to introduce Daryl, who is one of our... I don't even know how to express it at this point. Every time you're in it, the drama is amazing. Thank you so much. It is an enormous gift to me. Who is playing Prince Valentin Stepanovich Volkov, who is a happily married Russian aristocrat. Totally happy. Everything's fine. Hi, how are you?
Hi, yeah. I'm Daryl, and my pronouns are he, him. I'm playing Prince Valya, whose pronouns are also he, him. And if we could describe everyone else as a fluttering house of cards, then at this point, Valya probably feels like the really crumpled up two at the bottom of the cascade and is about to bring this whole thing down. So yeah, he originally was in the process of having a bunch of women thrown at him by his overbearing mother, who had only the best of intentions, but basically he wanted to find a way to put a stop to that. And then when his friend slash rival Tamara recommended that perhaps they just get married and then pursue their own affairs, it seemed like the best of all possible worlds. What could possibly go wrong? Turns out a lot. Emotionally, he is not doing so hot right now. He tried real hard to throw himself into his marriage. He tried real hard to throw himself into that whole free love thing. He's now apparently hooking up with his friend's brother, whom he had always had a childhood crush on, but we'll see how that goes after some prolonged exposure to all of this nonsense. So yeah, he's hunky-dory.
I mean, yeah, the cover of Hunky Dory is amazing. So I mean, if we see Valya that way, hey, hi, I'm Kat. I had the idea to do this, and I am not ashamed. My pronouns are she, her. I'm playing Konstantin Sergeyevich Kadavasov, a writer of farces, and he is the father of Tamara, and is generally a happy-go-lucky, jovial guy who is deeply and profoundly wounded on the inside. But on the other hand, he's starting to write much better stuff. So pain is art, art is pain, and yeah, let's get moving. So we had a barn burner of an episode last time. One of those episodes where the epistolary chapter was moving the plot more than the novels. Cool. We ended on reputation. So there are some shady bitches in this crew, and I expect to see some rep tags here to reflect that, maybe. But on the other hand, some of you are also not bad people. So I honestly don't know where Connie is at this point. I don't know. I'm gonna have to check. Christ Almighty, he got a good tag.
I feel like I'm trying to be defiant to society's conventions, but I did actually get married, so I don't know.
I mean, you can take one of each. That's perfectly okay.
Of course it is.
I mean, it's literally, that's the rule. You can you can get one of each time. I have somehow managed to get a good tag, and I'm not really sure how I did that.
I think Shura probably got a positive for. Well, she had a baby, and threw a nice baptism for her, and performing quite well in being a mother, I suppose, to society. It's either acting service of duty morality or acting obedience. It's probably both, honestly.
Well, my boyfriend was abroad, so I didn't really do much to get myself in trouble.
Hey, if your boyfriend was abroad, you'd have much fewer problems.
That was terrible, Kat.
Thank you. Thank you.
So I have a question for Serafina, because the way that I interpret this reputation tag is entirely dependent on the way that we think that other people perceive our marriage. So you put married with air quotes, and so I'm thinking that either like, and I know this is a loaded term, so I have a backup term instead, but like cuckold or stooge. To potentially be like, just a fool who does not understand what his wife's really doing.
Yeah, I think that, the rumor going around about my previous husband is that I was fooling around on him. And so they think that I'm sleeping with other men. So
little do they know.
Yeah, cuckold, I think cuckold works. Stooge also works. Either one.
I think I'm going to use stooge because though the other word is closer to the meaning, I just don't like it. So.
Yeah, fair.
I've also decided that because it is my third tag, I am taking black sheep, which means I am an embarrassment to my family. And I'm very much hoping to have like that mother-son scene that is inevitably coming from this.
You just can't keep those negative tags off, can you? Just got rid of one.
But I got rid of it too quick to use it. I wanted to use the other one.
No, totally fair. No, this is great. I took Eminence Greece because I am now beginning to build up a reputation as a senior man of letters in Russia now that I'm actually staying in the country for longer than the time it takes to cross the train platform to get the hell out. But that gives me access to high society, which is my notorious parties are attracting very wealthy individuals. I think they're slightly less than notorious, but definitely attracting interest. Cool. Wow. We're all bad people. Very, very bad people.
Yeah, I still have that revenge tag hanging around, so that's...
Except, of course, for Shura, who is falseless. Literally falseless.
He's so
My
good.
brother is a bad example, though.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's a contrast thing. Okay. So, hey, we got some rumors and we got some scandals. We got little rumors, little scandals. Hang on a sec. This one was fading, so that goes away. This one was fading, so that goes away. Ooh, we have managed to get rid of a bunch of these. Cool. Okay. Current rumors are Konstantin pushed Tamara into a marriage with Alexei Nikolaevich Yashvin to secure a fortune. I mean, it's spread. We're never using that, but it's out there still. Kostya's last comedy was booed off the stage in Paris. Count Kuznetsov has a fortnightly mistress. Grisha's father is still alive. Now, that's a thread that we picked up a little bit. We haven't done anything with it. I don't know what we want to do there. Grisha has accumulated a large sum of gambling debts. Now that's fun. Valya has been seeing a commoner, and that's why he refused to marry.
I am a baron.
Yes, indeed. So yeah, that's all the thing.
I will say no one has told Grisha about the rumor about his father. In fact, people were actively protecting him from that rumor. So him finding out would certainly push that forward.
Yep.
I can fix that.
Yep, let's see where that goes.
Pillow talk.
So with that many rumors off the board and the ones that we got left being not so necessarily super impactful at this point, sure, let's do the full 2 rounds. Let's do this whole thing. So I think we'll do Leandra, then me, and then the rest of the introduction order, just so that I don't end up having to always be the double. So yeah, Leandra, you got something for us?
Yeah, I've got a fairly straightforward one. Count Viktor Kuznetsov is not the father of Maria Kuznetsova.
Okay.
Not it. I didn't do it.
I can pretty much assure you no major character was involved in that.
Fair. Cool. So, are you going to type that one in, Leandra, or do you want me to handle it?
I'll do it. Well, we can
Okay,
move on
thanks.
to other folks.
So I'm thinking about there's something about the marriage, but obviously their marriage as a farce is too easy. I mean, no, too easy could be useful because it just means that there might be a resolve token for the easy and obvious answer. Oh. Wickedness, wickedness, wickedness. So simple. Valya isn't in love with Toma. He's in love with Shura. You're welcome. So then that's gonna wrap around to you, Serafina.
Gosh. I had a good one, and then I forgot it. Because that's the sort of place I'm in. Let's see. Wait, did I already do? I didn't, did I? Let's do this. I want to spread the rumor that Constantine has a secret lover. Because we never actually spread that.
We haven't seen Dolly for a little while either, so.
Yeah.
But my plan is for our next novel chapter to be the mother of all event chapters with some horrific weekend in the country. So
Right.
everybody can be there. Awesome. Next would be Richard.
I think it's rather remarkable how Her Serenity Toma is so often at social events alone, unescorted.
So what's the phrasing on that?
Let me. I just put it in. Let me know if that works.
Okay. Awesome. Daryl, you're our stuff today.
Rival publisher Stefan Sosnovsky died suddenly and conveniently, and Grisha won a huge publishing contract with an up-and-coming author.
Damn.
Is it really death if you have to flee the country because you actually had gambling debts? No one can attest that he's actually dead.
It's Dostoevsky, isn't it? Actually, Dostoevsky wasn't that up and coming in the 1870s, but cool. So what's your second one, Daryl? You can, spread or do stuff.
Let's spread the rumor that Valya isn't in love with Toma. He's in love with Shura. It's the talk of the town.
Perfect. So then we would go back to Richard, right? Yes.
Let us spread this rumor about my niece's paternity. I mean, I've been a terrible example for my sister, but I've not been that sort of bad example.
So next would be you, Serafina.
Yeah. I think something about Count Victor. What is it about Count Victor? Oh, I know. It is rumored that Count Victor has squandered the family wealth.
Oh, Victor. I have one. Several well-regarded short dramas recently produced are actually written by Connie. Hey, positive rumors are okay. And finally, Leandro, you get the last action here.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna spread that one just so we have more Connie rumors on the board.
Oh, Connie rumors. All right, then. Hey, it's that time again. It's 19th century Russia. We write letters. Who's up first? Come on, dare y'all.
I know. Because you were gunning for a mother-son scene. So from the Princess Daria Yuryevna Volkova to Prince Valentin Stefanovich Volkov. My dear son, it seems it has been years since I saw you at your wedding. I assure you that the coast down here in Greece is quite lovely this time of year, and I'm reminded of all the times that we spent when you were a child, laughing and playing. To get down to business, I understand that your wife goes very often unescorted to the theater. You know that the role of a dutiful husband is to ensure that your wife's delicate reputation is not in any way impugned. I assure you that, though I do not entirely approve of your choice of wife, I want nothing but the best for both of you. And with the somewhat unseemly matter of her husband's death hanging like the sword of Damocles over your union, I do believe that it would be best if you could be seen in public with her more often. Not to pressure you, but we are also hoping that we will be seeing a grandchild sometime soon. And by we, I do mean all of Petersburg society. I remain yours in faith and truth, and will be home in just a few weeks so that we can spend some quality time together as mother and son. Much love, your doting mother.
So I have a letter. So from Olga Pavlovna Akhmatova to Konstantin Sergeyevich Karavasov. Dearest Connie, it seems that it has been quite too long since my last letter. I hope that these words find you well, or that they find you at all, as you seem to be here, there, and everywhere lately. In fact, I wanted to tell you about an absolutely amazing piece that I just witnessed in the theater. I must say, the absolution of Rosalia Kovalovna was a masterpiece. It was, without a doubt, the kind of role I would have died to originate. Unfortunately, I do not know who the playwright was. There are, however, many signature hallmarks in terms of timing and delivery that I feel I would know anywhere, almost like a lover's caress in the dark. My dear Connie, I know that we have always tread lightly on our partnership. I've always given you probably more gruff than I needed to, but I do hope that if the timbre of your current works match this strange and wondrous little gem that I discovered on the side of the road, that we could rekindle the partnerships we had so easily shared in days gone by. Your number one fan, Olga.
I think Grisha has a letter, if I may. Addressed to Valya, and it is addressed to your serenity. How much I've missed you while you were away. Seeing you at the christening was a joy to my heart. I do believe we will be taking ourselves off to one of those estates that Konstantin Sergeyevich rents to see new work soon. Given your appreciation for the theater, I hope you will have a chance to join us. My love to you and to Toma. Grisha.
My very dearest Princess Daria Volokova. Dolly, my darling. You'll excuse the intermittent nature of my correspondence, I hope. You, of course, have yourself been outside of Russia almost as much as I have these last year or so. But I have returned to Petersburg briefly after a certain rather busy period in Moscow, where I attended many theatrical openings and was fortunate enough to host many parties, some of which were done at the house of your darling son, my son-in-law now, dearest Dolly. Imagine that, the two of us parents together at last. You will be happy to know that the recent affair that was conducted at the apartments I've rented in Petersburg went extremely well. I am, of course, forbidden to say whether or not a certain Grand Duke was in attendance, but let us just say that I spent quite a fortune on caviar. The other events of the summer went in a similar smashing manner. I have to say that when I was fortunate enough to entertain a certain Royal Highness, the Duke of Cornwall, as he is occasionally styled, but Edward was quite taken with Anna Sergeyevna. A pity, but I, of course, could not stoop so low as to allow a mere sex Coburg to romance my own sister. I jest because my attitude has improved with the season. I have been writing a few trifles on the side, nothing of any particular notice, but I'm always looking for new things to write. Anna Pavlovna keeps writing me, chomping at the bit for some fabulous new part, but I feel that to subject her to another one of my comedies would strain our friendship to the end. As to your very kind note inviting me to the country estate near Moscow, I of course accept immediately, unreservedly. I hope you don't mind if I take Anna Sergeyevna and Anna Pavlovna if she is, Olga Pavlovna if she is willing to come. I look very much forward to seeing you and your charming son and, of course, our daughter. In all honesty, Dolly, I have missed you deeply. I have been exceptionally lonely and rather blue these last few months. I look forward to nothing more than to spend a happy June afternoon reminiscing with you about old times. I have the honor to remain always Connie.
All right, I'm going to kick it up a notch, and I apologize in advance, Leandro. To the Countess Alexandra Fyodorovna Kuznetsova. Hand delivered. My dearest Shura, I miss you. It has been too long since I held you in my arms. It has been too long since I saw you smile. Every night I go to sleep and I dream of a world where I could walk openly in the streets with you on my arm in the way that I stand on my husband's. I know we do not live in such a place, but it is the only way that I can get to sleep. I thought that marriage would be not a boon, but perhaps a quiet place to rest. But the demands have gotten, if anything, more insistent, now that Valya and I have stood in front of a priest and declared ourselves for one another. His mother wants children. My father wants me to have not gotten married. The social events pile up. I find that I draw the eye more when I am in public, and cannot draw the eye of my husband when I am alone. We are both in misery, but neither of us, I think, knows how to say it. I wonder now if it was a mistake, and know that the only reason that I did this was so that I could be free to pursue you, and through no fault of your own, you are also consumed with a husband and a child and a life. Would that I could be that husband. Perhaps I will see you in the summer. Perhaps I will see you in my dreams. Yours constantly, Toma.
So I have my second letter. To my dear cousin, Anatoly Filipovich, this wedding was most assuredly a mistake. My dear cousin, I do not know how to tell you how envious I am of your steadfast ability to stay remarkably single. I confess that I had married simply to assuage the constant ploys of my mother and avoid any such entrapment to a woman who would never be able to satisfy the deep kinds of responsibility that it must truly take to love me. And indeed, I have yet fallen into the trap of such a woman and find myself unable to sustain this. I think often of the fairy tales that I always read as a child, and I cannot help but wonder, how did Red Riding Hood stay alive in The Wolf of the Stomach when everything about her situation seemed to boil her alive? I feel that most heavily, most egregiously, anytime there is a question of why my dear wife is out in public alone. My dear wife loves to be out in public, and I find myself increasingly unable to stand the vagaries, the platitudes, the performative ways in which being a part of society continues to sculpt me into something I do not want to be. I tried, truly I tried, dear cousin. I took a page from your book and I attempted to love as freely as a soldier on leave, and it has not brought me satisfaction. I have tried to find ways to let society tell me who I should be, and all of their declarations fall flat. My dear cousin, I wish there were a way to say the things inside that I am saying to you now. The only reason I feel possible to say these things to you now is that I am most assured that this letter shall not reach you. I know that you are often here, there, and everywhere in your continued tour of the continent with your duties here and duties there. It is only in this way, in this manner, that I can confess these things, for I cannot say them to anyone else. I cannot say them to my wife. I cannot say them to my mother. I cannot say them to my best friends, and I cannot say them to my lover. Who then is there to turn to but someone I know who won't listen? From the belly of the beast, your dear Valya.
My dearest sister, from Clara Fyodorovna Ivanovna. My dearest sister, oh dear Sasha, I see you so miserable. You are far past the time that the depression that so often plagues us descends upon a new mother. There's something wrong, isn't there, dearest? I know that dear Victor has never been happier with you. He dotes upon poor Masha. And yet, I see you two together, and I see once again that chill between you. I had hoped that things had improved enough. I have noticed that your young man does not seem to come around very often. Victor tells me that you keep asking for permission to go to the opera or to the theater unaccompanied. Surely you understand that in your position, such a thing would be a disaster, especially for your reputation. If you must not think of my brother, or your own state, think of dear Masha. Your darling Maria must have a clean slate. We cannot visit our own sins upon our children. Take it from one in the know, my dearest darling. May I suggest that you take some time with the good friend of yours, Konstantin Sergeyevich, whose parties will undoubtedly raise your spirit, and at which there are many handsome young actors who, of course, may be counted upon to display the proper deference due to a countess, and also are hungry for a little patronage entre nous, ma chère cousine. But do come to me if you feel the need to unburden your soul. We have not had a long chat since that day in Petersburg a few years ago before Victor came home. I feel I have guidance I might give to you that I dare not put into writing. Most affectionately yours, votre sœur, Baroness Clara Ivanovna.
Here's a letter to Toma from, I guess, former brother-in-law. I don't know how marriage works. It's a letter from Vladi. Dear Toma, I hope you're not tired of the multitude of apologies I've sent to you about your wedding present being terribly late. It's taken me a while to track down this particular painting, but I believe you'd appreciate the subtle vagaries of Ivan Vazovsky's Odessa at Night. It's a particular kind of painting, and well, I do believe that it is a good. I hope it to be a good representation of where things may go for you in the future. Normally, I would trust my couriers to send this to you, to get this to you by themselves, but I do believe this is a half decent enough excuse to see yourself and see how marriage has treated you once more. And I'm trying to figure out what's the next sentence. This may be an imposition after all. We are technically no longer family, but I wouldn't want for you to sail from one unhappy shore to another. I would like to at least have that peace of mind. It's terribly selfish of me, but well, knowing you're in a safe shore would, I think, do both of us a great deal of good. Yours always, Vladislav Yashvin.
This is to Countess is crossed out and Princess is written in. And it is your full name, Tamara Konstantinova Volkova. And it comes with a packaged bundle. And are we in the era of return where we can tell that where things were shipped from?
I think so.
I thought so. All right, yeah, it's from Greece, from Athens, and it is addressed, once the letter is opened, to Toma. Dearest Toma, if this letter never reaches you, perhaps the book will. I am apologetic. And I do not know how you bore the presumption of my previous correspondence. But I wanted to send you this to make up for it. I went through a period of being very, very unhappy on my return to Petersburg and clung perhaps too tightly to our time together. I know that by the time this letter reaches you, I will be almost back in Petersburg, but certainly you will be headed to Moscow for the season. I detest that city. It is far too Russian. So I will stay quietly in Petersburg doing some of my own work. I've been traveling for the past year and put our lessons in Greek to good use. Though I found that, and just naming a professor, I won't try to come up with a name, understood classical Greek about as well as he understood young women. Though who am I to critique scholars? Well, except for a woman with a publishing contract. I hope you will enjoy my translation of Sappho into French. And that we may meet on happy terms at some point in the near future when we are both in our proper places. Yours, her full name, Lyudmila Vladimirovna Kovalyova. Yeah. My brain cannot do Russian names tonight. I apologize. That was to the audience at home. So.
It's just me left, right? Everyone nods. Yeah. All right. Okay. Jeez, I want. Oh, sorry. I just saw a picture pop up. Okay. Okay. This is a reply to Toma from Shura, and it's also hand delivered. Dear Toma, when we were together, there was a multitude of things I wish I could have confided on you to you. I could have told you how marriage to me is also a quiet place to rest. I could have told you how marriage became simply a place to be at rather than to be. I could have told you that marriage was it was someplace I didn't think I needed to leave to be led out until you extended a hand and gave me a reason to be led out. In your absence, I tried not to think of many other things you could lead me to. I tried to build more quiet places where I can just rest and not think of what could be, but rather what is. Because thinking of what could be just seems so cruel. Yet, I found that these quiet places I've made, they've since become cages, and I've tested myself against these cages, and I've learned that they did not feel like cages until they do not feel like cages until I see you, and suddenly I'm possessed of I'm possessed of the impossibility to see them as anything but cages. Have you met my daughter? Have you had the chance? I wonder if, should you get to meet her, whether as an infant or more, would you see her as something that's a part of me, or something to lead me from? Because I do not know, and it's a horrible feeling to not know. I do wish it were much simpler, that we could walk by the Nevsky together and no tongues would wag, no imposition forced on us. But it is cruel to want that and know that we cannot have that want, and yet I want it still. I hope to see you soon, Tom. Yours, Shura.
Maybe it's been a year, plenty of time for marriages to get unhappy, children to be annoyingly grown up now, or, to the point where they're not constantly being watched. Oh my God, Shura, you have a governess, I'm sure.
Oh God, this is making me really wish that that Emma expansion for Good Society is out.
Oh,
I'm wishing that it was out. Not saying it's out now. Sorry.
yeah.
Yeah, you guys have been playing up a storm with that.
Yeah, it's got time skips. It's got 4 different ways to monologue, and
What?
and the tone is just different kinds of drama. Like, can't even do rom-com with it. It's like and my character had a child, and we skipped 10 years, and that child became an unhappy teenager.
Well, we can skip years in just the base game. It's fine. Yeah,
Literally do it right now. Watch.
Yeah. I actually have, because I've listened to the previous thing we did a bunch of times. I have a rough time scale for what that thing is, and it was over 7 years. That whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just like looking at when things must have happened. Like, Andre comes back around 1809 and all this stuff. So
Yeah, jumping around like that.
so let's see. Last one was the autumn of 1874. So maybe this is like the summer of 1876.
Yeah.
An estate near Moscow. As far as I mean, it's going to be on Toma and Valya's estate, I guess. Yeah. Is this like the traditional Volokov summer estate?
I'm into that. I hate it here.
So, I mean, we can have any number of people there, but it seems to me that Dolly for sure is going to be there.
Yeah, Dolly should be.
So Dolly invited Konstantin Sergeyevich. Here's a question: did she tell Toma?
No, I think Dolly really likes a ruckus. And she also has that kind of like, well, I've been a princess for forever. I'll do what I want. Who the hell are you?
So it does seem like Alexandra Fyodorovna is going to be there, but the question is she going to be there with her husband, or has he been called away to some distant province on matters of state?
Ooh. Oh, that's tricky. because it would be convenient. But when have we ever stopped for convenience? It
I
just
am
like
cool with flirting with him in the room. I'm also cool with him not being there.
I'm feeling maybe it's better he's not there.
yeah.
So I guess the only question after that would be, does he know that you're going out to this place? That might be fun to find out. As for Connie, I think I'm definitely going to bring on Sergeyevna and Olga Pavlovna, but if they'll come, I don't know how important they're going to be in the events, but I think we can have them around. Who knows what's happened with Anna Sergeyevna? I'm going to let Leandro figure that out, but Connie's been having a lot more parties. Maybe she's got some suitors, or maybe she just decided, screw it. gonna just have some fun with some dudes. I don't know.
Yeah. Last time we saw her, she was explicitly going like, "Hey, Connie, how can I be more like you?"
Well, then,
I would very much like to suggest, and Richard can take this or leave this, but perhaps it's this new Anna Sergeyevna who has finally made like an honest man out of Anatoly Filovich, whether she wants him or not.
oh my god!
Oh my god!
Oh my god!
Oh my god!
That would just be absolutely lovely. Like if all of a sudden Talia has finally just met his emotional match, and she does not care, and then I can have yet another bad romance with Leandro, such that like only Lady Gaga could accompany this.
That's
Imagine if you drive her into the arms of let's see, who's not yet attached. Ludmilla, I don't know.
oh my god!
That's no escape for you, Leandro.
From Richard to Richard, right?
Well, yes, but I do think it would be hysterical if we find out that Anna was with Ludmilla in Greece.
Hello. Cool. Yeah, I actually like the Anatolia thing because it'd be interesting to contrast this clueless and but kind of cute and cloying romance in the foreground. In the background, everybody is hissing nails at each other.
Yeah.
So, country estate outside Moscow, summer of 1876. Where shall we start? There's so many places. So many good places. We could start with. We could start with Connie arriving into the middle of some horrific scene.
Could just permission? No. Sorry, I think Connie arriving. What would be the horrific scene?
I think either Connie arriving, or I'm a little interested to see what Valya and Toma look like.
Oh,
That's what I really want. Like, what is their conversation like before they? Maybe are the guests planning to arrive later that day? Are we preparing for it, or do we have one more day of awkward solace before? It is so rudely interrupted.
My suggestion is the two of you have a scene, and I will insert myself the minute it looks like it's the worst possible time.
Yeah, I think it's our last morning before people show up. It's not a full day beforehand. Mm-hmm. I think Toma is. Do you have an idea of where you want it set, or what you want the general tone to be?
I mean, if it's the dining table at breakfast, and we're awkward, enjoying our last quiet moments where we don't have to actually pretend that we are talking to each other, but then something has to screw it up, sudden announcement, a letter comes in that a butler brings or something.
Okay. Here's a real question: have we mistakenly drunkenly slept together?
I think that I think that it's not even mistakenly drunkenly. I think we really did give it the college try, and it didn't work. Maybe specifically Valentin didn't work.
We tried to heterosexual, and it didn't happen. It was just really bad. And it spoiled both of us in different ways, and we'll figure out what that looks like. Yeah, I'll figure out what the butler comes in and hands. Does the butler hand you a thing or me a thing? Who gets to decide what thing that messes us up is?
I mean, honestly, the butler probably wishes he could hand it to you, but has to hand it to me.
Right.
So,
Great. Cool.
yeah. And I bet it's one of those things where it's like, if I weren't there, it would have totally gone to you, like no questions asked.
Right.
And like you probably like the family, like the staff probably respects you so much more than me. You like get shit done, and I'm just like a wastrel.
I'm really sorry.
It is what it is.
Great.
And I think I open it, and what does this letter say?
I think it's letting you know that there's been some sort of change to a like critical food delivery or something for all the people we're going to entertain. Like it's just like something is going to be late, something's messed up.
Okay. Okay, I got it. I was like, I just like you like throw down the letter, and I like almost spit, and I'm just like, there has been a blight in the countryside, and the steaks that were supposed to arrive for dinner tonight are not going to arrive, and they are not going to send anything as reparation.
Not sending anything. That seems a little out of the ordinary.
Well, yes, it would be most customary for them to send any kind of replacement, but apparently my good name means nothing anymore.
Valya. She sets her like fork and knife and napkin down very delicately, gathers herself up and walks over to your side of the table and picks up the letter and looks through it. Now, question is, did they really say that, or is that you just being hysterical about
It's just me being hysterical. Yeah.
Great. Valya, husband. It says right here that they're going to be sending a replacement, that it's just going to be a little late. Are you okay?
Of course I am, dear. Why would I not be okay having everyone in creation come stomping through my comfortable summer and have to parade around like a peacock again?
She pulls the chair out that's sort of next to you, because of course we sit across from each other. You aren't a peacock. If anything, you're a show poodle.
Just like glares daggers at you. And it's like, yes, and unfortunately you keep me on far too long a leash, which everyone has noticed.
Yes, I've been getting letters about it too.
Toma, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to have to perform for all of these people and pretend that we are the models of high society when everyone is just going to talk behind our backs.
She sits back in the chair and tosses the letter down, and it sinks into the tableau on the table. I don't either. But I don't see a way out of it, do you?
Short of one of us faking our deaths and absconding to the continent, no.
And even then, your mother would still chase after one or both of us to get remarried.
It is true.
The people that are coming this weekend are family.
Yes, but are they... How is it family if we can't even truly express ourselves? If we must, again, put on the airs that we are not entangled in the ways that we truly are?
I don't know what to say. I don't like it either. I thought it would solve something, but it hasn't. We tried. My father warned me. Don't tell him he was right.
What are you talking about, my good man? I am a guest of the princess herself!
Of course.
Stop.
We
Princess,
both
you
just
will not
crumble.
believe the... Oh. Princess. Princess Volokova. Prince Volokov. I seem to be unaccountably pulls out his pocket watch. It was told to take the 8 o'clock.
8 hours earlier.
You must forgive me.
And Valya stands up and like his face just immediately like changes, like he's slapped on a mask or something. He's like, "My dear father-in-law, of course there is nothing to apologize for. Of course, come in, come in. You will find that we are having rather a simple breakfast, but I assure you that the coffee is hot, and I can have the butler stiffen it up if you would prefer."
That's quite all right, son. Daughter.
She hasn't gotten up and like is kind of staring at the breakfast table and then sort of gathers herself and stands and says, "Father, if you'll excuse me," and leaves.
Yes. I'm sure as the woman of the house, she has a number of duties. You will forgive me. I will go and seek out your mother. I should warn you that I ran into Anatoly Filipovich on the train platform, and he apparently was mixed up about the times as well. So he is actually downstairs in the garden.
Forewarned is forearmed. I thank you, my dear father-in-law. I do hope that it will not be too much of an inconvenience. My mother is indisposed, as is wont to her habit on such a morning. I leave you to find other entertainments for yourself as I go deal with my dear cousin.
Why, of course. I'm sure you will have so many entertainments planned for us, son.
Yes, we have a litany of things to come. And he says in like a decidedly unsure manner because he has not bothered to be involved in the planning at all.
I think we should definitely cut to somebody else. How can we make this carnival of horrors worse?
Yeah.
Is Grisha coming to this? Grisha's, of course, coming to this, right?
You're muted, Richard.
I have a scene idea, but I don't want to interrupt the morning insanity. If there's other places it can go.
I'm okay with moving on, but I'm not the host and hostess.
Well, what's your scene? Because I thought if you're on your way to join us in the country, perhaps your vile mother has accompanied you.
Leave my mother out of this. I was more interested in seeing Tony as a kind of functional person here. But I would love to have a confrontation with my mother. A discussion, sorry.
Yeah, whichever you want to do is fine. So however you would like to frame that.
I think Mother and I are standing at the platform for the train, waiting on the carriage. If that's all right, if we can jump away from the house, or do you prefer we be at the home?
I mean, we could be in our carriage on the way there, which I think would accomplish most of the same. No, we're at the station, not waiting for the train, but like disembarking from the train and getting to the carriage. How's that?
That's great. Shura, are you here with Mother?
No, I think. Well, the thing is, I think Shura has like. It feels like she has almost successfully extracted herself from her mother. she's coming with her daughter and a governess, so it's like.
And that's why she's latched onto you, Grisha.
I'm sorry.
I feel like that would if you don't want to be like, you can say no, but like I was thinking like that would be why she would like, it would be like her strong point where she's like standing next to you with daughter and governess.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. Like we're probably disembark at the train station, but I was thinking they're gonna take. I mean, Shura has already arranged like a carriage, but like yeah, definitely. I think the two of you have disembarked, but Shura has not yet. So it's gonna be. So I'll jump in when it's like most I guess
Awkward.
inappropriate for Grisha. Yeah, most awkward. Yes. There we
Most
go.
inappropriate.
So I think it starts off with the Countess Lilia like waving her cane, like, my valise, you stupid fools! Be careful with my valise.
Mother, they're being perfectly careful with your valise. I reach over with a tip for the porter as I take her valise and set it on the steps near us. I have it now.
Look at how it is scuffed. There is no respect, no care for the work.
Mother, that scuff has been there for the past 5 years.
Lies. Lies. It is an ugly thing to tell lies, Grisha.
Mother, you've complained about somebody scuffing your valise at every trip for the past 5 years in exactly that corner.
Grisha, I will not have you ruining another weekend with your poor attitude.
Mother,
After all, if you continue to go around frowning everywhere, then how are you ever to find a nice girl?
Mother, I promise you, I will be very busy working.
Work, 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 work. Can your work grant me another grandchild?
Konstantin Sergeyevich is my author, and you need another grandchild like you need another, I don't know, coffee. He barely stopped from saying gray hair.
She just like glowers at you. It's like, if you were half as prolific as Konstantin Sergeyevich, I would have at least had another grandchild by now.
Mother, I remind you that I publish Konstantin Sergeyevich. I am well aware of how prolific he is. It requires me to be prolific as well.
Why not marry that nice secretary of yours? She's a comely woman, but very capable.
Tony is not my secretary. Tony is an editor at my publishing house.
Well, whatever she calls herself, assuredly she wants to get married.
She refers to marriage as the cursed state.
Ugh, you young people and your liberal ideas.
I believe the word you're looking for is libertine.
Do not correct me, Grigory.
I'm a publisher. It is my job to correct people.
You are a son, and it is your job to honor your mother. I mean, look at how Alexandra has acted. She is a faultless being upon this earth. She has borne a beautiful daughter, and she continues to glow into her womanly duties every day.
I am profoundly aware of what a lovely person my niece is. Also, there is no one who respects my sister's desires more than I do. Perhaps more than she does.
If only you would follow her example rather than the other way around. I'm constantly afraid that she will have your bad habits imprinted upon her, or worse, onto my granddaughter.
I think that's like the incantation that summons Shura. Well, not incantation, but like at that moment, like I think behind like what's her mother's name again? Lilia's back. Grisha will see that like we'll just see like disembark from the train. It's like it is Shura who's looking quite a bit not taller, but like I guess leaner in the years since, and she kind of like looks around, slightly somewhat forlorn, and then she turns around and like, geez, I don't hang around with children that much. I don't know how Maria will be transported in the 1870s. Doesn't matter. And I think Maria's definitely there in like some sort of carriage of some sort. It's been pushed around by. I got a feeling probably Grisha you haven't seen Shura in a while. So yeah, so there's now a pram. There's now a governess, but Lilia has probably been around far too many times, and there's probably like a bunch of folks moving some suitcases around, and yeah, Grisha sees them first before Lilia does.
I think Grisha just stops talking very abruptly and turns full on to watch Shura approach with kind of a very sad smile.
Lilia turns around and sees you and says, "Ah, Alexandra, look at what the porter has done to my valise. It is scuffed. Do you not see?" And I'm like looking for you to agree with me.
Mother, I'm sure it is a multitude of faults. The porter may only hold a percentage of them. I've been telling you to. That valise has gone through so much. I've been meaning to send you a new one.
I wouldn't hear of it. This valise has been with me through so many journeys. It is a very reliable. Unlike some people, looking at her son.
I think I at this point, did my beautiful niece sleep for the trip?
Oh, did you? Is that out loud? I thought you were just asking.
Yes.
Oh,
As he's fishing in his pocket while he asks you that question while looking at his niece.
Oh, Grisha. She has. Maria slept quite a bit, but I think she is. And you hear a gurgling sound in the pram. I think the words "oh blah, blah, blah," or something like that. And she's like, "Oh, I believe she's awake now. She's not been that much trouble." And I think the governess is just like solemnly nods.
She is not two yet.
I think she will be a very well-behaved 2-year-old. She will take after her mother. You were always a very quiet baby.
Countess, he says, greeting Maria. He produces a small toffee, appropriate for a near 2-year-old.
Okay, I think the governess gives you like a look. I don't know if you've ever met this governess, because it has been a while. And sure, it's just like, it's okay, Nina. My brother always knows what he's doing.
I am an exceptionally poor. My mother does not stop reminding me what an exceptionally poor influence I am, so I feel like I must live up to my reputation.
I think Shura said that her brother knows they're doing very pointedly in front of their mother, and in response to that, like Shura just adds like, "Oh, my brother can't possibly be that bad. After all, I turned out quite well."
You turned out extraordinarily.
No thanks in small part to me and your father.
When you say your father, like Shura just kind of like gives you like a look, like, "Oh yeah, it's that little colonel," and but then she just kind of like waves it over. And Maria, I think, accepts the toffee, but also a bit of solemnity in a way that 2-year-old probably shouldn't have, but she does. And then she takes it and kind of like waves it at your face, Grisha.
I put my part of the toffee in my mouth and make I am looking at a child face at Malia. If you'll give me a moment, Mother, I need to make faces at my niece. She will be too old for it in merely weeks.
Well, that is certainly true. Now, Alexandra, can you please tell me, why are we going to the house of Prince Valentine? I have heard the most scandalous rumors about him and that wife of his lately. Did you know that she goes to the theater very often alone? Her husband is here. He should be accompanying her. Why is he not?
Well, I always believe that the matters between the man and wife shouldn't be out for display for the general public. It seems quite sordid, and frankly, I've always admonished you for cavorting in that general arena. You've heard it is not only rumors fly wherever they're meant to be. After, we've heard some that have stuck to my husband, and I think the years have gone by where those rumors have proved to be quite insubstantial. I I put a great deal of faith on my friend Valya, and it would do us better if we let these rumors just fade away like the insubstantial nothings that they are. It's the work of jealous people, Mother.
Well, I'm sure the prince has nothing to worry about, but you do know that that woman's former husband died because she was sleeping with another man.
I'm trying to remember a quote from St. Chrysostom about gossip. It is evading me.
It is not the gossip, it is the truth. And none shall be accused of saying anything but the truth.
When you look away, Grisha, to make that statement, Maria makes a sound at you.
I agree, Maria.
I am just worried for the tenor of the friendships that you keep. You know that you are the sum of your friends, and so you must only associate with those who are of a high caliber. And I worry that the prince and princess may not meet those exacting expectations.
Well, then I suppose, and I hope this weekend away with them would dispel your worries, Mother. I know you carry. I've always said you carry far too much of them. We've myself and Grisha have learned to take on those worries, and it would be better for you to just you not hold on to them so tightly. We're
Oh, but my
Yeah.
darlings, I want you to not have to carry those burdens. That's why I've done what I've done. That's why I worry for you so much, and I stand in the way of things that would weigh you down.
In that case, you may put your worries aside. There is a magnificent garden to this house that you will want to spend a good deal of time in, and will, of course, be very cautious in how you interact with artists and actors.
Oh, well, I didn't know this was a garden viewing party. Perhaps the weekend won't be wasted after all.
That seems the perfect point to cut. So what shall we do next? We have so many possibilities.
so many
Do we
people in
want
this-
do we want to finally see the reunion of Shura and Toma? Okay, let's do that. So let's talk about this. When is this happening? Is this like tea? Is this a sudden, unexpected running into each other in the garden? Is this a stolen moment in a closed-up parlor in the back of the house? I'm gonna let you guys decide.
How dare you?
I've broken both of you.
Do you have any thoughts?
I think we've never really seen them in private together. I
Mhm.
think we had one line at the end of the last session,
Yep.
and then we had to cut away from my sanity. So I'm down for this being like a private moment of some sort, or at least a moment where they think they're alone.
I know what it is.
Oh God.
So we've had, like, you've arrived, all the pleasantries have happened, we've had dinner, and Kat, was that intentional, you raising your hand? Oh, you hit the I would like to speak button. And you have just put Maria to bed. And you return to the room that you're staying in by yourself. And when you walk in, Toma is there with a bottle of wine.
And I think, sure, just kind of like takes an intake of breath. She didn't. Well, she was expecting this, but she wasn't expecting this. And I think she just kind of like closes the door, and it's just like, God, I don't know what to say. I think sure it's just like she's just looking around, like this is quite brazen.
Yeah. And Toma walks across the room and hands you a glass. and says, I don't know why you're looking around. There's no one else here.
I know. I was making sure. You know, when you're in the room, I always have to make sure. And I think she's clutching the the glass of wine, like, this is actually happening, huh?
Your daughter is perfect.
She's a child. She can't help but be perfect.
I think anything you make would be perfect.
Oh God. Like takes it's a full glass. Like I hung up on these like little things, but like yeah. She'll like she like takes another deep breath when you say that, and then say like, well I hope. Why? I hope I have yet to disappoint you on that front, Toma.
You asked in your last letter if I would want to lead you away from her. I don't think that could ever be, even in a perfect world where we could walk the streets together.
Perhaps not, but right now she's not here and you are. And I think Shura gets just a bit closer. And right now, if you'd not brought her up, I would have. Is it cruel to say I would have not thought of her if you hadn't brought her up?
I don't think it's cruel. I'm certainly not thinking about anyone but you.
Trying to figure out. There's like 5 moments where Shura would have just like dropped the glass and just. I think no. This is it. This is the moment. Like I think. Oh God. Jesus. Yeah. I think you say that, and I don't know if Shura wants to talk anymore.
Great.
Yeah. I think she just drops the glass and we can veil it from there.
Yes. Veil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's okay.
We can't do long scenes together because we'll die.
Yeah, we'll just die. Like there has to be another person in there. Like...
Toma and Shura are just like really breathless together. It's just what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just you. So we have a couple places we could go. We could see Anna and Tolia if we wanted a little comic relief in the middle of this. Or we could skip on to other things. I haven't seen Dolly yet.
Let's have Connie and Dolly.
Okay.
If that's okay.
Yep.
Wait, do we want all the parents in one scene?
Oh, dear God in heaven.
That's terrifying.
That is terrifying.
I'm here for it.
I don't have to be in that.
Yeah. I like the idea of Dolly and Connie flirting in front of the Countess, and she doesn't get it. All right, brother. Yep. Let's do this. Okay, cool. So I guess being the parents, we're like in one of the parlors maybe after dinner. Oh no, we need a fourth because we've got a card table set up.
Oh my God.
We should
I will tell you that Grisha would consider this deep torture.
Perfect then.
So he's definitely our fourth.
Yeah.
Yes,
I mean, all three of you were there, so I think, yeah.
and
I
you're
have to.
unmarried, so yes, yeah, you're obviously Lilia's partner, and Dolly is Connie's partner. So,
Wait, this is cards
yes,
or dancing?
Cards.
cards for now.
Right.
Which is like dancing, you know.
It's like dancing, but less exercise.
It's sort of, it's foreplay for Connie and Dolly, but, everybody else is just kind of having a normal night.
But the last 7 years have been foreplay for those two.
Well,
You don't think they've culminated? I'm pretty sure they've culminated.
we were in the library together. We're in the library together.
Then the foreplay starts again. Afterglow is foreplay for them.
We just haven't seen each other in a while.
Fair.
I'm assuming that we've both kept
Which is
busy.
going to make this a real hot hand of cards. Yeah.
I'm sure we both kept busy.
Great.
Well, Dolly, I'm feeling a little risque, so I'm going to bid a spade. Or, oh no, wait.
Scandalous.
May I change my bid? I have re-examined my hand. I'd like to bid 2 hearts.
Well, that does seem more fitting.
2 hearts. What a weak hand. 2 spades.
Oh,
I do believe she's
Who is
I'm afeard that we are in the presence of a master of whist. Is this true, Grisha?
Mother has mastered many things, including commentary.
Yes, if only my son were as good at cards as he is at barbs.
You've mastered
I-
commentary. What do you comment on?
I find that oftentimes people are afraid to say what they see, and I like to say what I see.
I would absolutely love to hear what you have seen, she says as she touches the foot of Connie under the table with her foot.
I feel like Grisha at that point is just like vaguely rolling his eyes and moving his foot away to give you better clearance. And Connie is my whist partner, correct?
I thought it was like Lilia and Grisha and Dolly and Connie.
Brilliant.
Okay.
You're stuck with your mom.
Pushkin wrote a novella about a way of winning cards that could not be beaten. It's a romance.
Well,
There's a
I'm sure
beautiful
that if
young
one
princess.
wastes I'm sure if one wastes their time reading literature rather than practicing their cards, they won't get very far when they bet.
Well,
Ooh, a barb.
it was that I didn't notice, but of course I'm being genteel. I must confess, Countess, that perhaps, but I have played cards all across the continent, and it stood me in good order. But of course, some people are better than others. I found that His Royal Highness the Prince of Wales was an excellent card player. Have you met him?
I wouldn't even bother. The English are terrible at cards. They have no grit.
Definitely, they
And who
showed
by
it to us at the Crimea.
And who, by your estimation, has the most grit, my dear lady?
Well, of course the Russians, but I suppose the Greeks are a second. Maybe the Italians.
I was recently in Greece. It's a beautiful country, don't you think?
It's too hot. It upsets my constitution.
Where do you like to travel?
I prefer to go up north. Somewhere where there's finery and tradition.
Well, I myself prefer the Crimea if I must take a weekend, because it is the natural Russian thing to do, to go and sit in the dust on the shore of the Black Sea with a bunch of convalescents. This is tradition. It fulfills all the requirements of a Russian holiday. One is miserable, far from home, and sharing it with everyone else. Dolly, I do believe you're going to the Crimea later this year.
I am indeed.
Wouldn't it be a
The
charming...
Crimea sounds...
Oh, yes, Grisha.
Sorry. I was going to say, the Crimea sounds awfully like Vienna.
I had the honor of being...
Mother took us to Vienna when we were younger.
Did she indeed?
Yes, he wasted all of his time. When he should have been in art galleries, he was out at the pubs.
Why, Grisha, I had no idea that you had a taste for German beer and sausage.
I believe they call them cafes.
They call them konditorei, but cafe also, it's true.
Whatever it is, his diet was abominable. He would stay out until all hours of the night and then come back moaning of some stomach ache or other.
How is it we did not meet when we were younger, Grigori? We would have been great friends, I think. I could have taken you under my wing, my boy.
Konstantin Sergeyevich. I won't have you speaking so to the boy. He's a reputable young man.
I most certainly am not.
He's in publishing, my dear. There's not a reputable man in the entire trade. I should know. I've worked with half of them.
My apologies. Then I don't want you spending time with him, because there's absolutely no way that your reputation can take another hit.
Which one of us are you talking to, Your Serenity?
I am obviously not sure, Grisha. I am not sure.
I'm talking to my dear friend Constantine.
I have a reputation now? Heavens, I must do something immediately about that.
I am hurt to have fallen so low in the Countess's esteem. After all, I'm a publisher.
As you continue to remind us, dear.
Do you not find it an honorable trade, Countess?
I suppose he has made something of himself in the world, but do you know what I really wish he would do? I wish he would make himself an honorable man and find...
Wait. Let them guess. Let them guess.
As an honorable lady whose son has just married, I think that my dear princess knows exactly what I was going to say, darling.
Oh, well, you've taken all the fun out of it.
What is fun?
I would have guessed that you would make him a fishmonger.
Oh, really?
It's an honorable trade. Laborious, straightforward, good, solid men of Russia, doing their best.
That's very, very, very true. But you cannot have Russian fish in Lent. You can only have Russian chicken because there's no meat on them.
A fair point.
A barb, Darya Yuryevna. A barb.
I did see that one coming.
It's an old joke.
Well, I wish you had seen that last trick coming. We are far behind.
Well, I think it has already been assured to us that we are going to lose.
Well,
but that just means we will have to turn in early.
Yes. Turning in early would give you time to do some revisions on the notes that Tony sent you, wouldn't it?
What notes? You send me notes now? Did the last play not sell?
I do not send you notes. Antony sends you notes.
Yes.
I merely champion my editor.
I do apologize, Princess. I really wish he would stop harping on about his work for even 5 minutes. It is so uncouth.
To the contrary, I actually enjoy listening to men talk about the things that occupy their time. And I do so care for Constantine's business.
Well, Dolly, I think the boy has a point. Work must come first. I am an artist. I can't put aside my responsibilities. I should go and revise immediately. Oh, heavens. I've forgotten my glasses. I must have left them on the train. Dolly, you know I can't see anything at night. Would you mind greatly accompanying me to the library, and you might read aloud the passages I must revise?
As a dear and good friend, I would be happy to assist you.
You're a Christian woman, Darya. You're a Christian woman.
It's just as well. You're down 400 points.
Oh, heavens, were we playing for money? I hope not. I haven't any.
I have nothing on me, so I think you're safe.
Well,
I think I would be just playing for jewelry at this point.
Mother, may I walk you to your room?
Yes, Grigory, I think that would be best.
make sure you get her a glass of vinegar. Some wine before you go to bed.
I bid you
Mother's-
good night.
Good night, darling.
As soon as the doors close, the cackling from the two of them is something you can definitely hear but pretend not to.
Oh my god.
So,
Oh my god.
And I think I look at my mother and just say, Constantine is a great author of comedies.
I didn't find him particularly funny.
farce.
They translate well to the stage.
Well, be that as it may, at least his skill in theater does not translate well to cards.
It's almost as if he was distracted. But,
I
the
think
minds
that
of
is just a poor liar.
the minds of the literary are always on their work.
Either that or he's just a poor liar.
It could be both.
Perhaps.
So what we haven't done.
May I have the servant send you anything? Sorry. Scott.
No, go ahead.
I'm totally
Okay.
fine to wrap that. Like, I think there were so
Yeah.
many like perfect parting bon mots like the entire way through. And like if Constantine and Daria want to like wrap that up, that's fine.
So there's three things I could see that we might want to see.
Mm.
One is Toma and Connie having a meeting. I think we definitely need to see that.
Yeah.
One would be the redux between Valya and Toma. But one might be, is it too early to have the spitting, hair-pulling fight between Shura and Toma? Because
I think
if
we need to give it a minute.
Yeah. I
If-
was actually gonna suggest I was gonna spend a token to have someone find out about them.
oh yeah, well I mean there's some people that already know.
Well, yeah, but like someone who probably didn't.
Like your mother, who is literally the only person who would give two shits at this point.
Yeah.
Yes.
I also was thinking, like, what if your husband shows up unexpectedly?
Oh no, I have plans for Victor. Don't worry.
Oh, great, good. But I like the idea of, I think the fight between Toma and Shura happens, like, later in the summer.
Mhm.
Okay.
Like, after the, like, oh, the burning desire, like, then it
Yeah.
sort of wears off, wears thin.
We don't know how long this is supposed to take. We could all be here for weeks. So.
Yep.
Yeah, this is the most they've spent time together. To get out of-
Oh! So Connie is quite obviously renting his grandmother's old estate nearby, right?
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
So, if we don't even necessarily need to have the fight on screen, though, if you guys want to have the fight, I just give me a second to get some popcorn from the kitchen, and I'm freaking there for it. But
Yeah.
the other way would be, no matter what, we could do a scene where you come to Connie's place after the fight.
Oh, yeah, I'm into that.
I am totally into that.
Yeah, well, whatever we decide, I think definitely that we can do that later. I mentioned in the chat that, like, Grisha, Valya, but not seen.
Oh God, we haven't seen Grisha and Valya. That's far more interesting than Valya and Toma. I mean,
Yeah.
no offense, guys, but like, you
No,
know,
we're not that interesting.
there's no heat there. Why don't we do that? Why don't we do Grisha and Valya? We can do a little time jump, like maybe Countess Lilia is home or in Moscow doing something, and you guys have an afternoon together.
Okay, so I would like to. I'd say it's maybe like 4 or 5 days like into the thing, and I think that Valya has purposefully not been alone with Grisha the entire time, and it's like it's painfully obvious to like everyone at this point that he's avoiding him. And I think that it would be super great if it was like on a dock by the river and you come across Valya like staring across the water or some melancholy bullshit like that.
Could we do the you left the house clearly to get away from something, perhaps not like a fight, but just, and I was clearly explicitly waiting for you
At the riverbank?
at the riverbank, at the dock, or
Okay, yeah.
at the rowboat dock.
Yes. Yes, and I think it's that thing where I wasn't planning on meeting you. I think that you've observed my habits and you like ambushed me. Almost like you know, you were just there. And so
I waited until you just could not deal with life in the house anymore and came out to your normal place. And I just so happened to be here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I kind of like I'm walking there and I see you like by the boats and I stumble and I say, "Oh, Grisha, my dear friend."
You know, I sometimes think I want to be hurt or disappointed or possibly even angry. And then I surprise you and you get that surprised look in your eyes, and I cannot be anything but very glad to see you.
I am very glad that you have come to stay with us, Grisha. It has been too long. Please tell me, how is your publishing ventures going? Obviously, like looking for anything else to talk about.
If there's someone else, Valya, I will understand.
No, there's no one else. And he like spits the words out almost.
Is it something I have done or said? Have I been too possessive, too?
No, of course not. You have been a dear and steadfast friend over these past many months, as I have.
Neither of our mothers are in earshot, nor is your wife's father, nor any of your servants. Please talk honestly to me.
And he falls silent. And you just see like the emotions wrestling on his face. And then just he looks up at you and like starts crying. And he like takes even a step back and is just like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I'm married to Toma, and Toma is in love with Shura, and I
You
don't
knew
know.
this when the two of you married.
It seemed like such a good idea at the
You were
time.
giving the world outside what they wanted.
But I don't want that anymore. I don't want to be locked up like this anymore. And seeing you, I'm not avoiding you because I hate you or something like that. It hurts that you would think that. I'm avoiding you because it hurts to see you. It hurts because everything that I want is right there in front of me and yet out of reach. I can never have it. I can never hold it.
Do you want to leave?
More than anything.
I mean, Russia, Moscow, Petersburg, whatever. Do you want to leave?
This morning, Toma and I joked about how much easier it would be if one of us were to just fake our deaths. But, Grisha, I wasn't joking. Grisha, I want to forsake everything about this life and just run away somewhere. And I can't, because I don't know what it would do to my mother. I don't know what it would do to Toma. I don't know what it would do to Shura, to any of these other people who count on me to be there in their lives. I pour so much of myself out into all of them that I feel like there's nothing left for you or for me. I don't think it's as easy as running off to the continent again. I've tried that many times over the past couple of years. And I just bring all of this with me.
You've never brought me with you. I don't say that as reprovingly as it might sound.
And he just kind of like almost wilts, like falls to his knees on the ground and like stares out over the river.
Grisha sits down sort of in front of him. And says, "Your serenity. If you think that I will give up waiting for you, unless you tell me to, unless you can look me in the eye and tell me what you want, you are mistaken. I believe in free love, including the freedom to wait for the one I care for. And that is you. When you are ready to leave, I will go with you."
Valentine stays silent for a long time. And he doesn't even look at you when he says this, but he kind of like leans forward and puts a hand on top of yours, on top of the ground, and presses it deep into the soil. And he says, "Let's go out onto the river, just for a while."
It is a light fog out there.
I'm sure we can find our way back.
I am most absolutely certain.
Scene.
Okay. Do you want to do you want to do this now, Toma?
Great. Yeah.
I think we're all sad and flustered, so this is the perfect time for you to come to your father's crying about the latest fight.
Yeah.
I think it's an evening.
Yeah, it's like too late for a woman to be out at a decent hour.
Yeah, but also it's like, Moscow, the area around Moscow in June, it's going to be about 9 o'clock at night for sunset. So it's like maybe 10:30 at night. So there's still like that twilight afterglow or something. And Connie comes out to the garden smoking his pipe and sees you sitting on one of the benches. The servant said you arrived and wouldn't wait in the parlor. What's wrong, Tamara?
And she's wrapped in, I think, like her husband's coat, like some big wool coat. And you can see underneath of it that it's like just her like nightgown. And when she turns and looks at you, her face is streaked with tears. And she says, "Papa, you were right."
And he looks back at his window, and you can see like a silhouette that's probably Princess Dolly. And he looks back at you. I make my own mistakes as well, Toma. You had a fight with the princess. The Countess, rather. Sorry.
I think I thought that ours was just a different kind of fairy tale, that there was some sort of fairy tale that I could tell. Somehow.
I think he sits down on the bench across from you. I've often told you that I wouldn't have married your mother if I had a choice. I've never told you who I would have married.
Who was it?
Dolly. I don't know that we would have been any good for each other. I mean, when we are together, our natural spirits rise. We amuse each other, and we amuse ourselves at the expense of others. It's quite the merry little game. But I fear that we would have been thrust into a black cloud of misery if we had ever married. Of course, it was very quickly too late. And I wouldn't have had you. I tried when I was younger to write the fairy tale for myself, and then I tried to write it into my plays, but nobody believes in the fairy tale. They'll say they want it, but it doesn't exist, Toma. No love is a fairy tale. Your love is going to be harder than anybody's. The worst because it's not even a butterfly. There's no chrysalis here that's going to turn into something. I don't mean to be so gloomy to you, Tamara. You came here for comfort, and I'm not giving it to you. But I hope you understand that you came to me and you said I was right, but I don't gloat, Tamara. My heart breaks. What can I do?
I think she gets up and walks across to where your bench is and sits on the floor and puts her head on your knee and says, I didn't come here to be comforted. I came here for my father. Just be my father.
Am I still worthy of being that, Tabby?
She like wraps her arms around your legs where her head is rested against you and says, always, Papa.
Yeah, I feel like that scene, yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
I'm sad now.
I'm fine. I'm fine.
We're fine. We're both fine.
We killed Daryl.
Yeah, Daryl's not alone. It's a mass murder.
So it's just so much.
Do we want to just call the novel scene there before we kill anybody else? Or does anybody have a thing?
The summer house is fucked up.
Oh, yeah.
This is a gay, fucked up summer house. Like, you know.
Like, I can't breathe. There's too much happening. My poor little gay heart.
Leo Tolstoy's The Normal Heart.
Where my face kind of hurts. I'm fine.
This is like if the Love, Valor, Compassion movie were really just, you know, gayer.
Yeah, just like happening.
clear and more literary.
I'm,
Yeah.
I'm, I'm gonna call the novel chapter there. Let's do reputation while we still can.
Yeah.
Let's see if we can. I don't know if we'll be able to get at Pistolaire, but if we can stay a little late and try and get another novel, and maybe that would be awesome. That would be a good way to get out of this without crying. Also, I don't think.
Oh, we still have to do monologues because we haven't.
Oh,
so
yeah,
we're
do
up.
monologue.
No one's
Jesus.
monologue yet.
All right, fine.
Fuck me. I mean,
Um,
I know I'm spending my monologue on Sasha.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I was hoping for that. I know exactly what I'm gonna say. I don't
Yeah.
even know what the question is yet.
Yeah. I'm spending my monologue token on Sasha. I want to know.
Well, hang on. We gotta
Oh.
do this in the right order. Before,
Oh yeah.
you can. I'm sorry. Forgive me. You can call it now. You can always call them.
Yeah.
Token. You can go right ahead, and knock it out.
Okay. Cool. I want to know how you're feeling the night that I go to my father, and I think like we have to maybe decide what we're fighting about.
Yeah.
Decide that if you want.
Matter.
I have some thoughts.
I had a thought, but then I watched that scene and I'm like, ah, Christ. What was your thought?
I think one of us wants like more out of the relationship. Like one of us wants to like prolong things or try and live closer or like have more visits. It's probably me
Yeah.
because I have
like,
more freedom than you.
Yeah, but yeah, it was either that or like I can see how Shura would want it because she has less freedom, so she wants to chance it. But
Right.
I think, but that would make more sense. It would make Shura far more reckless if it was hers than and she if she was the one who wanted like more. But it makes I can see playing either way, but
I
like
could see it going either way because
I'm actually kind of liking that to have it be Shura and we're playing against type here.
yeah, if Shura was like pushing for more and I was like, no, you can't ruin your daughter's life and your reputation and your marriage. Your husband loves you.
yeah,
Like, I don't want to be the reason that you're ruined. Because, like, I already ruined one person that I cared about, which is my dead husband.
Well, we are doing Anna Karenina, aren't we?
Yeah, we really are.
Jesus.
Yeah, but who's Anna? I haven't figured that out yet.
I haven't figured out who Anna is.
Yeah. Oh, so is this like a really prolonged game of ribbon drive? We've not figured out who the protagonist is till the very, very end.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
I
if
like
you're okay
to
with
be
that.
playing against type and having it be you.
Yeah, that was my first thought.
Right.
So I have to rethink this monologue then. Yeah, I think what we see is like probably like after like you run off, Shura's gone back to where Maria is. And there's like she just kind of like Shura has kind of like a blank look on her face, and there's a moment where like she just kind of like stretches down, like strokes Maria's cheek, and Maria's like sleeping. The little angel has come up with new words throughout this trip. Probably some words that she shouldn't have learned. But well, it's a lot of people in this estate. It's just so much. Why did you bring a baby here? Well, not a baby. She's 2 years old. Yeah, I've not hung around 2-year-olds. I don't know what they're like. And the first thought that like goes through Shura's head is that I thought that it was cruel to want more. That was what I thought. That was what society said I should. Actually, no, I don't. Just scratch that. That's not what Sharon says. Not liking where they're going. Is it truly cruel to want more? Is it so bad to just want to be happy? Is it so much to want to be happy all the time? Just a few months ago, looking at you, Maria, I could not think of how you could make me happy, but here I am, and I can see what Thomas said. You are perfect in every way, and yet, when I'm not with you, somehow you're just another cage, and it's so cruel to think that of you. Well, what are cages if not things to escape? I fear that if I do not escape soon, I cannot. Whatever I become, I could not subject that on you, Maria. And yet, if I do escape, how could you? How could you? How could you not fail to escape my mistakes? But being with Toma, it doesn't feel like a mistake. It doesn't. Yeah, having you doesn't feel like a mistake. Raising you doesn't feel like a mistake. I know there's going to be a point where I have to choose. The world won't let me be selfish, but if I can for just a moment, just for one request, I would like to delay that moment. Just let me have some more time in the sun. And Shura leans down and gives Mary a kiss and goes to bed alone. You asked for it, so.
Yep, I did. I did my reputation and took in closest confidence. And it's obviously with my father.
It's technically bending it, but I think that's fine. Let's just do that. I took seducer because, I was just shamelessly flirting with Daria, which creates a new reputation condition for me. What I'm going to do is I take fracture, but I'm going to bend it slightly. So what happens is Connie stops having any relationship with Daria because she is the mother-in-law of his daughter, and he is trying to take care of his daughter and maintain appearances.
Wow.
Yep.
It's intense.
Yeah. Connie is turning out to be a good dude, actually.
Yeah,
he's a really good dude.
Well, I was gonna say he's the best, but he's not.
He is kind of the best, though.
Not even close.
Shut up, that's my dad!
I think whatever that fight is, it was somewhat public. I mean, it can't help but be public, I suppose, if Toma runs off. So I'm gonna take a negative because I publicly displayed some strong emotions. Probably not.
Yeah, it could just be that you displayed strong emotions afterward or like the next morning when I wasn't back yet.
Yeah.
Something.
I am taking recluse because I am in waiting.
Yeah, that's real.
I think that's how it's showing up. Also, I'm avoiding my mother like crazy.
I mean, fair. She is a time.
Seriously, and the best supporting actress Oscar goes to.
I mean, seriously. What would we do without Daryl? This is a genuine question.
I don't know. It's fall apart, all of it.
So I have a question about my
Mm.
reputation tag. So I think that Valentine definitely performed like very martyr-like or very like overtly graciously as probably as a host to swoop up all the mess from your falling out.
Mhm.
And so that would put me at like third positive reputation tag. But both of my reputation like conditions don't really fit. Like, can I be a golden child and a black sheep? Can I be a tremendous catch when I'm already married?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Chat, help.
That's an excellent question. Hang on a sec.
Well.
I got
No,
the
you
data
just got
file, so I can take a look at some of the other ones. Hang on. Why did I hide these? Oh no, I didn't do that. That's not dynamic. Haha, I did that by hand. Oops. Well, let's see. So what are you thinking? What do you want to see there?
I'm not really sure like what would like an appropriate like reputation tag be at that point. I mean, if we're like leaning into the Anna Karenina thing, at this point I feel like I'd be Karenin, and everyone was basically just like, he didn't do nothing wrong.
Actually, I'm looking at the one on the philosopher. Your actions have made you universally admired for your selflessness and ability to ignore your own happiness to help others.
Perfect.
Yeah, I'll just copy that in there. There you go. And I'll just hide these again. Good thing I had that there. Also, good thing I wrote that, right?
It's perfect.
Thanks. Okay. Cool. So, if everyone's basically happy with their reputation, let's just move on to epistolary, and I got a letter. From Count Viktor Filipovich Kuznetsov to His Serenity Prince Valentin Stepanovich Filipov. Sir, in this modern era, the suggestion that gentlemen should immediately fall to arms upon any dispute of honor is, of course, antiquated, anachronistic, and expressly forbidden by His Imperial Majesty. However, certain factors have come to my attention that demand an explanation from you. To wit, you have been seen frequently in the company of my wife. To wit, my wife, against my advice and wishes, spent a summer at your estate, returned emotionally strung, and would not explain to me why she was so traumatized. I suspect, sir, that you have been attempting to play me for a fool. This is something that many have thought they could get away with, but have never succeeded at for very long. I demand an accounting of your relations with my wife. I also demand that you and your wife stay away from her. If you find that you cannot make any satisfactory explanation with words, then perhaps we shall turn to other means. I have the honor to remain yours, Count Victor Filipovich Kuznetsov.
I'm dead.
Pistols at dawn. Oh my god.
You're welcome.
Oh my gosh. I have no idea what I'm gonna do.
Perhaps now is the time to run to Europe.
Oh goodness gracious.
Or you can throw your you can throw your reputation back at my face.
And
I made a mistake here.
that is a thing that I could do. I'm sure that I could find a way to say it in the most backhanded way that definitely doesn't imply that he's got his own mistress.
Definitely you would not do that. That would be crude. Alright, somebody else can drop their letter bomb.
Oh yeah, I've got one. To Konstantin Sergeyevich Connie from Dolly, obviously. My dearest Konstantin, I hope this letter finds you well. I am writing you while sitting on the coasts of the Champs-Élysées, watching the boats slide past me in the early morning light. I cannot bear to go back to Petersburg. I know over the many years that we have been in acquaintance, I have been very flip about my relationship with you. I have made it seem as though our passing in the night like two ships on this sacred harbor was nothing more than a dalliance or distraction. But I find your absence in my heart makes me ring as loudly as the bells in this early misty morning. Ring empty. Ring as though struck. I do not wish to try and cloy you back into my arms. I do not wish to make things more difficult between yourself and your beloved daughter, who I know has had your heart this entire time. I only wish to let you know that I will ring out quietly over these waters as I think of you every morning. And I will go to bed less fulfilled than I have in many years in your absence. Yours, Dolly.
All right, so to the house of Count Victor Kuznetsov. Victor Filipovich Kuznetsov, I hope that this letter finds you well. I myself am writing from the greens of London, having escaped the turbid atmospheres of Russia and found somehow England to be brighter and lighter. I write to you in response to your letter and to address some misconceptions that I believe you are fiercely clenching to. I write to you from Sydenham Hill, a beautiful suburb of London, where I am looking out over the Crystal Palace. Have you heard of the Crystal Palace? It is a marvel of architecture. And it reminds me very much of the adage that those who live in glass houses should not cast stones. It is true that my dear friend of many, many, many years, Shura, came to stay with us, as is often her habit when her husband has left her alone. You see, I care greatly for my friend Shura, and I extend to her all the hospitalities that a peer of the realm would extend to anyone that they call friend. My wife and I treated her with the utmost grace and dignity. My wife and I hosted her entire family at various points throughout the summer. My wife and I made sure that she was not alone throughout the summer. It is unfortunate that Alexandra fell much victim to the harshness of the country air and found herself much aggrieved when she returned home. I assure you that we did everything in our power to guarantee the comfort of your wife and your daughter and your brother-in-law and your mother-in-law. I trust that we shall speak no more of such grotesquely exaggerated rumors of any sort. None that may have sat in my country seat, and none that may have accompanied you to the front lines of duty. That is the thing about rumors, isn't it? They are like rocks, and they can be thrown so easily, and yet they cannot be taken back, especially when they've flown through a beautiful glass window. It is with great respect that I write to you, sincerely, Prince Valentin Stepanovich Volokov.
Yeah, okay.
Nobody slaps like Daryl. Damn.
Beautiful. I'm trying to think if I send this to Toma or just send it straight to Grisha. I think I send it straight to Grisha. A clipping forwarded from Konstantin Sergeyevich to Grigory Zinoviev from a Moscow paper with a note pointing out that the terms of his most recent contract include 2% of the sales and a piece of the commissions as well, concessions as well, payment to be forthcoming. Konstantin Sergeyevich Katavasov's new play, A Weekend in the Countryside, has been the toast of the city. An unexpectedly poignant comedy from a writer known mostly for his lighter French fare, but his bones being now laid in the thick cement of Russian, we find that the situations become far more interesting. Gossip, of course, would have it that he wrote this from experience. One should not entertain such rumors, as such decayed types are put on display in this farrago of a aging playwright named Sergei should have no place in any theater spirit. Yeah, it was just basically everyone should go and see this.
Right. I agree.
Thank you, Tabby.
You're welcome.
Yeah, no. This is if you know your O'Neill, this is Connie's our wilderness. The next one is his long day's journey into night.
Great.
To Konstantin, I'm sorry, I need to look everybody's name. Konstantin Sergeyevich Katavasov, sorry. Really cannot do Russian names tonight. I mean, I can't do Russian names normally, but I usually just fake it better. From Grigory Antonovich Zinoviev. Dearest and beloved Connie, I would not hold back from you that money which you have so generously made me with your numerous talents. I am waiting for the theaters to provide an accounting of their actual concessions, but I am glad to forward you money in trust, that those concessions will be quickly accounted for. After all, when people are laughing and crying at the same time, they do tend to drink. As the founder of my publishing fortune, it is my unpleasant duty to let you know that for future business matters, please direct correspondence to Antonia Stanislavna Bokokova. I am, were I a pious man, I would say I was going into retreat. But I think I am merely needing some time in seclusion, and winter seems appropriate. I have thought of traveling, but I'm sure you'll appreciate that merely retiring by myself to a library in the country seems more dramatic. I hope to regularly return to your correspondence by spring. I think it's appropriate to our relationship that we begin joyously communicating with each other while the Christians are observing Lent. Yours until the time of rebirth, Grisha.
That was incredibly pretentious. You are in publishing.
Seriously.
Publisher to author.
Okay, I'm going to do the hard letter. Unless somebody wants to go before me and doesn't feel like following what I have to say to Sasha. Cool, great. To the Countess Alexandra Fyodorovna Kuznetsova. My dearest Sasha, I cannot apologize for the way that I conducted myself during our final argument in the summer. I cannot apologize because I am not sorry, and I would not do you the disservice of letting words pass my lips that I consider to be a lie. I do not want to destroy your life. Were we living in a world where we could have one another in the ways that we wish to, I would in a heartbeat tear you from your husband and from this desolate place and take you with me always. But as it is, you have a man who loves you, enough so that he threatened to go to arms with my dear Valya over your honor. I'm not sure if he told you that. I wonder if he would be so quick to threaten me to a duel. But that's beside the point. I told you that I would never take you away from Maria, and I meant it. And I do not wish to make your life more miserable than it already is under the circumstances that we find ourselves. I did not mean to be cruel. And so if I spoke cruelly, I do apologize for that. I want us to be able to care for each other in the ways that we want to, and in the ways that society will let us. So I cannot say that I am sorry. I did what I did and said what I said in order to protect your heart and your life from the stain that would be on it were we to do what you suggested. I am staying with my father. His plays are doing rather well. I've included here a small children's book that I found that I think might be of some interest to Maria, as she is likely learning some form of letters at this point. I have also included a small book of poetry that I think you might enjoy. It isn't Sappho, but it's close. I remain constantly yours, Toma.
How many resolve tokens do I have to spend for your husband to find that letter?
I got so much. Do I need any
I
more?
mean, we've got one more episode, so like
We do have one more episode.
I'm down.
I think it's about time, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'll fight him.
I'll accept it, but let's not deal with the ramifications till next week, because
Take a moment, breathe, think about it.
We're too tender right now.
Yeah.
We can't do it.
Yeah, we can't do it. Yeah, we've done so much tonight, but I'll absolutely
We can't have that
take
fight.
one.
Yeah, I
That's
like
a whole
to.
other novel phase too.
Yeah, let's finish Epistolary and maybe knock out any remaining monologue tokens. We'll call
Right.
it a late night, and then we'll just do We'll try and do 2 novel chapters next week.
Yeah,
That's it. That's the last cycle. We won't have to do Rumor and Scandal, so we'll get that at least.
yeah.
Shura writes a letter to the Baroness Clara Filipovna Ivanova. To my dear sister-in-law, you've probably waited for these words for quite some time, but it seems I've spurned your sound advice for far too long. I hope to speak to you soon in person. Yours, Countess Alexandra Fyodorovna Kuznetsova.
To my dear wife, the Princess Tamara Konstantinova Volokova. I do hope that France is treating you rather well. I have found England to be more refreshing than I have ever found it before. I must say that when you suggested that we tour the continent, I did not expect that it would be separately, and I did not expect what a panacea it would have been for us to go our own way, even for a short amount of time. I know that when we departed the Volokov summer home, we all did so with heavy hearts. And I know that even as I wished that I could have been the support for you that I wanted to be, that it was for the best that we treat our wounds separately. That being said, I find that the time that we have spent apart, exchanging letters, infrequently though it has been as much as I need to try once again at this comedy we continue to write. For the truth of the matter is that I miss my friend. And I wish that with the time that we've taken, our wounds will have scabbed over and we can pamper each other and continue the healing process in good company. As it is growing later in the year, I do think it would be nice to take in the Riviera, don't you? If this sounds amenable to you, you can find me at the usual hotel. I hope to see you soon, your dear husband.
That was so good.
I think it's only Leandro?
Oh, is it?
I've still got one more letter to do.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Unless I don't have. I'm still formulating.
Yeah, I can do mine. It's kind of frivolous. To my brother Connie, from Anna. I'd like to thank you again for the advice and the bountiful amounts of wit you have let me abscond with. It seems to have perfectly befuddled this boy Tolia. For the moment, he seemed quite a rogue, didn't he? When we ran across him in Greece. But you had the mark of him. He seemed to be someone who was simply looking for anyone to keep up. And thanks to your help, I think he has found that it is he who has had to keep up with myself. And that's all I had, honestly. And it's probably like a extended just an extended treatise on whatever play Connie has sent over, and well wishes. Hope to see it in production soon. Tolia is insisting to be part of the production, and I'll tell him, "Well, I'll talk to you. Okay, it's fine." Yours always, Anna.
It is adorable.
Look, someone had to be happy, okay?
I think this letter arrives for Valya as he is leaving London. For the Riviera. And it is pure 19th century drama. It is two pieces of paper very precisely glued together so that they do not look like they are glued together. So there is a very flip, pretentious Grisha letter on top. But underneath, there is an actual letter. I have never been one for solitude or seclusion, so I do not blame your father-in-law for calling me pretentious and over-dramatic. The Russian winter has a stark beauty to it. Outside, the trees are telling me that they are just barely beginning to think that spring may be around the corner. The smallest buds begin to appear. And the bulbs in the garden are beginning to show some rise in the earth in which I buried them. Valya, should you require me, I am at your disposal in any matter, whether in Russia or abroad. And why is it even in this, I cannot write down the plain truth of the matter? If you will not call me to you, then please know that you are always welcome here. And you know where to find me. I am yours, always, your serenity, Grisha.
So formal. Well, we might as well just do upkeep next week. Yes, we can do that as our prologue. I would like to grind and get 2 novel chapters in because they're our last 2, and I think we got a lot to do. So if folks can make some minor plans to stay a little late next week, that might be cool. We don't know what Daryl's going to do to us next time. I mean, last time it was just, like, by the way, Agatha Christie just showed up. Whoa!
I promise I have no plans to poison anyone this time.
So you're going to do it as a surprise even to yourself.
That's what a poisoner would say. Well, you're all wonderful. This was the best session yet.
I think I described belligerence and benevolence as Leo Tolstoy presents Brideshead Revisited.
It's very real, yes. That is true.
There's no inaccuracy there.
Yep. So, next week we'll try and have something tragic where one or more characters may end up, tragically committing suicide, or maybe not. Maybe they'll just be broken in shells of their former lives. I don't know. It's weird. I think
on and off the tragedy wagon. I don't know what's happening.
Yep. I think Connie's going to be fine. Just be broken on the inside.
Cool. It's cool. Masculinity does that to people.
Yeah. Poor Connie. Well, this was lovely. Thank you all so much.
You're all wonderful.
Hang on. Yeah. Thank you, everyone. Good night. Do svidaniya. Is somebody gonna come up to Toma and ask her what she's in mourning for?
Somebody has to ask her that. Just ask her why she's wearing black.
I'm in mourning.
I'm in mourning for my life. Oh my god.
Why is my entire family gay? Am I gay?
It's a skill.
Let me check. No, I don't think so.
No, Kat, if your entire family of choice weren't gay.
My entire family of choice is not gay.
That's true.
We have Shane around for that.
We'll figure out what that looks like. We do have Shane around.
Worst heterosexuality ever.
Yeah, square peg, round hole. I'm the peg, obviously. I'm
dead.
I'm really sorry.
We're really close to the scene where I just lie down. All right.
Okay, let's bring this into the scene.